I think the really cool part is leading up to this and talking about it, to like being here where like this is the actual thing.
Right.
Like to
so.
like stare at this wall and then know those are right behind us. It's kind of like, oh shit.
Weird. But I know. I wish there was a mirror. Oh wait, there is. Oh, I can look at my car. All right. So this is the most unofficial, most official podcast setup. Stop, bro. We're sitting on buckets right now.
We are.
Dude, we're sitting on straight buckets at the moment. But behind us is like it'd be a lot of buckets if we like bought buckets and like. Where are we, bro? We're in an open random space right now. Okay, so context. So we should have a little bit of like what's happening here. So our amazing friends at Ironwood, Matt and Derek, were able to hook up the space because they needed, to shoot. Everything aligned super well. We're in this awesome empty space, and when you have an empty warehouse space, we got these cars not too long ago. We thought it would be a cool setting to just talk about life, talk about what we do, 100%. And just have these in the background, because realistically, if it wasn't for these guys, we'd be sweating our balls off probably in a parking garage or somewhere, who knows where, trying to achieve this exact same thing. But because of them, angel human beings, we are able to be in a refrigerated place.
This is the spot.
This is the spot.
This is the spot. Thank you.
So thank you guys. But dude, what a mission it was to get in here. I mean, you've been working all day, and we'll like dive into that because I know you are a fucking workhorse. But bro, like I have been on back-to-back meetings between 8 and 12. This car, my McLaren, was at the dealership. I had to drop it off at McLaren to get service yesterday. I didn't align things accordingly. So it was supposed to actually like, because it got 2 weeks ahead, was booked, and that's how they do it. And I forgot that I had this, so I called them last minute after like not being able to get off a meeting. And like it was 1 p.m. I was supposed to be here in like a couple hours. I'm like, guys,
we canceled our meeting too.
Yeah, we canceled our meeting for that, bro. We literally, because we had a meeting too. So we canceled, like everything was just so compact. But it's funny because being here now, it's like, okay, you get to breathe, and it's like all worth it. You know what I mean? Like with how hectic like everything that we do is, it's like when you take a breather or a second to like be like, okay, you take a second, you like look back, you look at what you try to explain what that is. You look at your family happy, proud of you. You look at everything. It's like, it's wild.
Yeah.
So I want to let you go, but I want to just say that to start this out, like we both took deliveries of these vehicles within a day apart, and that was not planned. How we came into each other's lives, it's so weird how everything like aligned in a weird way.
Crazy.
Where I don't know how to like explain it, bro, but it's like those things that are like just so like it's just life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Aligning the way that it should be for things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know when you took delivery of this car, it was very emotional. You had all your agents there. It was such a crazy feeling.
Insane.
Like what did you feel like when you got that car, bro?
The one thing I'll say, so just even like sitting here with both of these cars behind us is a trip. Like it's a weird feeling.
Yeah.
The other thing is how it came together with both of us talking about getting cars, making it happen, sending, I don't know how many links of different cars, just trying to figure out, purchasing all the specifics to like be sitting here on this badass paint bucket right now with you.
Place to be in, bro. Like this, if this describes our friendship, is like we are the type of people to be sitting in paint buckets in a warehouse in the middle of like just Arizona with these two cars behind us.
For sure.
This just makes it so much better. Like, dude, I would hate being in a very comfortable chair right now.
Yeah, no,
That's all I'm saying.
This is on point. I think though, like with the accumulation of all the effort, because I know for myself, and I can only speak for myself, but you and I both, like, this is a dream. To even be sitting on this paint bucket, in this place, in this facility with these cars and with you, like the accumulation of effort and all the trials, tribulations, and everything to get to this point, to even be able to purchase cars like that is absolutely insane. I know with where I come from and where you come from, to have that is absolute childhood dream, every dream come true. And to even like wake up in the morning and walk out to that car, like I could have some serious shit going on in my life and my business, whatever, and I walk out to the car and I would just laugh. And I'm like, this is so
rewarding. It's just
weird. Like it's insane. And you know, it's a combination of just consistent effort and getting sober, relationship with God and all those things, where it's getting to go through that process with you, get delivery of my car, have you there, and then watch you get delivery of your car with your family there, right? Your brother's here right now. I got to watch you with your mom and your family, like things like that. That made me watching you get your car made me more emotional.
When I saw your car, bro. I felt so. The biggest thing too with these cars and everything, and like you probably are starting to get it more and more, is the connotation that comes with like owning these vehicles, and it's something that I truly hate. And I have another, like a car, I have an M4. That one's a little bit more tamed as far as like, you know what I mean? Like you drive that and you get different reactions. Like kids love it. People are like, oh, cool this, cool that. But when you drive one of these, it gives a little bit of a different energy. And I am not too sure yet how I like it or not, because it's a little bit different of an energy that you get with this. Like it's people put you at a certain either level standard, or they write you off as, oh, there's this prick, there's this asshole, there's this guy that's like never worked for anything in his life, or worked for everything in his life and thinks he's better than everybody, and that's why they have these cars, right? Yeah. And I was just talking to even Derek out here at the warehouse. We were talking, and I was just like, dude, like, it's the biggest compliment for me is when people like go, oh, like I thought you were a dick, you're a nice guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's funny because it's like a backhanded compliment, but sure. I like it though, because like I kind of understood that getting into the place of like getting something that's a childhood dream that people don't understand. Like I'm a huge car guy. Like you fucking love cars as well. Like you had a Hellcat before this. You had like we get these for a little bit different reasons than what most people do. Yeah. And I wish that people could just see those 18-hour days. I wish people could see like what it takes to like, because I'm sure like you guys see a podcast, you guys see like Instagram stories, you guys see this, that, but they don't really understand. Like they just see the glamour of it. They just see like, oh, you get to drive this car, that's awesome, whatever it is. You are one of the most hardworking motherfucking people I know. And coming from me, bro, like I work a lot. I like strive on trying to be the most hardworking person in my group or people around me. Yeah. But you are one of the most hardworking people that I have ever met, and it is awesome. And I don't know how you do it, bro. But like, especially like everything in your life, like that you've overcome to get to this point. Like if you asked 10 years ago, like if you look back, right, like 10 years ago and like ask yourself, would you be in this paint bucket in this warehouse with your Urus behind you, or at least putting that aside, just like genuine happiness. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because like putting everything aside, you're genuinely happy. Like I talk to you, I know there's not a void that you have regarding like you're not happy or you're not feeling a certain way, all that stuff. But like, it's just interesting, bro. Like what would you be able to even believe that 10 years ago that you'd be here?
It's crazy to think about, because I remember being like 15 years old and I had, you know, my 10-year plan, and I was like, by the time I'm 25, you know, I want to have the family, I want to have all these things set up, and I was like driving a Ferrari by the time I'm 25, right? I didn't even know what type of the Ferrari at the time, but I'm like, mandatory, that's where I got to be. You know, I just turned 28, and I was thinking about that because that was something that was so on my radar. Yeah. And I turned 25. The position I was in when I was 25 was from the highest in my life to the absolute lowest in my life, right? Absolute rock bottom, financially, mentally, spiritually, like every single category that I can think of, I was fucked, right? And that's when I decided to get sober, which is the only reason that car is sitting behind me, and the only, like, honestly, forget the cash, the prizes, all the stuff. Like, this is important and it's awesome and it's a milestone. Yeah. But like all the things that you can't see, like the happiness, the high level of gratitude, like getting to have the relationship with you that I have, like the solid friendships and the people that I have in my life, like it all leads back to getting sober. And it's funny because I'm 3 years off the game plan. It's not a Ferrari, but it's the car that I wanted now. And like the accumulation of that effort, and you know, 2.5 years ago being at the lowest point of my life where I had like $200 and more medical debt than I could ever imagine paying off in a period of time, where it's like watching this all come together and having people around me that, like, watching your reaction of me getting my car, and just overall like what you just had to say about me working, like that makes me emotional, right? Because I did not used to be that guy. Yeah. Like I did not used to be accountable. I used to not show up for other people myself. Like, hey, I'm going to be here at this time. I wouldn't show up, right? And now it's like I get to wake up and be the most accountable motherfucker in my life. Like I get to be the guy that I needed when I was younger, and I still have a lot of stuff to work on, but you know, we're heading in the right direction. But like getting to be around, like steel sharpens steel. I remember hearing that when I was younger, and it's like I didn't really understand the depths of it, but the friendship I have with you and like where things are heading business wise and the conversations we have, it's like where dreams actually happen. And like my life prior was like where dreams came to die. Yeah. So it's a completely different realm.
It's the most like, it's so bizarre. Like if people only knew, you know what I mean? Like, and you can never compare like apples to apples. Like, you know what I mean? I can't compare like what I've gone through versus what you've gone through. That's never a way to go about it. But like the shit you have gone through, bro, what you have done, like the fact for you to be sitting here healthy, alive with this, with family, with love, like a good human being, it is the most like heartwarming and inspiring thing ever, because realistically, again, a lot of people, like you said, it's like not only where dreams go to die, is where people go to die. Yeah, like 100%. It is, that's like people don't know how to turn their life around in a way that will ever help them or anyone around them. They are actually burdens to people around them, right? So the fact that you were able to have the willpower to like make that change, not only for yourself, stick to your guts, be a good fucking person. I tell everybody this all the time, tight group of people, bro. Yeah. I'm not in a mood of new friends. I'm not in like, I just have 3 motherfuckers. Like as funny as it is, as that little video that goes all viral, I literally have a group of like 3-4 people, bro, that I trust and love and dear with all my heart. And all of it is accountable to their personality, who they are as people, right? Yeah. And you have that quality, even with everything that you have gone through, you know what I mean? That makes you like a person that is just so great to be around. You're uplifting, you help so many things, and you actually are that motherfucker that lives out your goals and that gets to a point where like you get to like do things for other people, do things for yourself, and do these types of things, bro. Like it's not like it's crazy to really like fathom and understand. And we've had this conversation before where it's like you're sitting there and you realize like, like I wish I didn't like go through all that or maybe like do all those things. Like I wish I could take anything back. And like we've always landed on the angle of, bro, like that is exactly what needed to happen at that point in time. And this is what I would like hope people can understand, like that are you 10 years ago or are you 15 years ago or are have ever been in any situation where they just really don't, because you're that person, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? You are that person. You have literally taken a life that like wasn't meant for you and you said, no, it is. Yeah. God said it is. Yeah. And then you walked through it and you got through it. You know what I mean? And a lot of people tend to just give up in that point. They think that it's not deserving to them. They think that, you know what I mean? They think that they're a burden to everyone. They think they can't achieve any of those things. And what's funny is that you going through that has made you the person you are right now. I don't think you not going through that, you'd be the exact person that's sitting right here. Yeah. And dude, I think that's the biggest blessing and the biggest like thing that people should realize is because this is how I live. I'm very religious. I look at everything that God does and God gives me as I don't question him. Yeah. I am no one to question God in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. So I stopped looking at things negatively. If something bad is happening, bad, quote unquote, it's not bad. I don't see it as bad. I see it as God either trying to teach me a lesson. I see it as either God doesn't want this for me right now, it's not meant for me. I let go rather than me sitting and moaning and just being like, oh, like I hate this. I'm so upset that this is happening. Why me? Why this? Why that? I sit there and I'm actually grateful that I'm going through those situations, because as humans, that's what we do to learn. That's how we mature. That's how we get to the next stage of in our lives. And I feel like you're at that point where you've like had to overcome those things and you did it so solidly. And the thing is too, bro, like we're still so like there's still so much more learning that we need to do. Yeah. But the fact to be able to have something click where we can just try to be as much ahead as we can be with these little things is so important. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do have to say, I wish everyone could give me even 1/20th of any intro or perspective you just gave me, because I'm like, hell yeah, thank God this is recorded. I love that. Yeah.
Let's hope it's recorded. I mean, if these guys know, we're sitting on buckets. We have one tripod that's barely holding my camera, and these mics, I just bought them today. So this might not be recorded. So the only person we have is Matt in the corner there, which he'll have to like reiterate back to us what we might have said, and he might not remember. But
we're going to make it happen. One of the things that I want to say though too, like, I mean, you gave me a lot of props, which I appreciate that, and it's weird to be in a spot where I can even remotely accept that. But one thing that I've seen from you since I even met you for the first time over at Pat's, you had good energy. I was like, what does this dude do? And then learned more about you. And you and I have hung out multiple times where I got to know you. And then immediately you're a guy where I'm like, I want to do business with this guy. Like, I want him to help grow my company and scale this. Like, you've worked with huge brands. You've created something where it's like, I came from a digital marketing background and owned a digital marketing company for 5 years, where for me to be like, I want you to run my ads. I want you to blow my business up. I want you to help take, because for me, it's not just ads and marketing. It's like taking my life from this level to this level. Yeah. But you do that in all areas of your life. Like, to give you some props, you don't fuck around. You're put together. You're on point, right? Like, I've been in meetings with you. I've hung out with you on the personal side. Like, I've seen you with your family, your significant other, like everything in between, where it's like you're a top-notch motherfucker. And if anybody deserves that car, it's you. So it's really cool and special for me, like from a friend standpoint and a client standpoint, to watch that. Once again, I keep saying it, the accumulation of effort and like literal fucking dreams come to reality. Like, I almost cried watching you get your car, and like watching your mom and your family and like meeting the rest of your family. We got your brother here. The way that you include that is so special, because like with what I have going on with my work, it's like, dude, one of my biggest whys is to make up for all the crazy shit that I put my mom through. And like, people look at us and I feel like they're like, oh, this cocky, arrogant piece of shit because we got this car. Yeah. Dude, you don't see all the other stuff on the back end that I know you and I both do to help change other people's lives, to give back. Like, stuff that's not documented or even talked about, you know, where it's like, I look at you and I get to spend time around you, and I just want to give you, on the record, props and congratulations for being the dude that you are. Like, you don't even drink, you're dialed in, you're put together, and like, you're a fucking stand-up dude.
I appreciate you, dude. Thank you. I don't want to, dude, that, again, it's so funny because we're all very go, go, go. All the people around us, business owners, people that are in our space or understand like the what comes with owning a business, what comes with managing stuff. Like, we really don't get ever people telling us that you're doing a good job.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it's sometimes very hard for like actually getting people telling you that you're, because you sometimes forget, you tap out of it. You're just so go that you are living for other people or trying to. Yeah. So I truly appreciate that, dude. And that's part of the vulnerability, as like, I feel like that's so important with people and friendships and like men in general and just anybody in general, bro. Like, you just like having that positive energy, not like being able to drop your ego and like recognize someone for their success, recognize someone for their achievements is so important, and it's so lost nowadays too, right? Even with business, right? Like, even us, which there's so many things that come with like diving into business and then building a friendship after diving into business, or having a business and then bringing friends into it, that you always have to be cautious of, right? Because it always, like, for the most part, a lot of times it doesn't lead ever in a good direction, right? But I think that finding a balance is super important. And again, for any like people that is an entrepreneur or is trying to start a business and that wants to start that business with that close friend because, or family member, because it's easier financially or whatever it is, you don't realize actually where you're putting yourself in, where I've seen it like 9 times out of 10, dude, it always fails as far as like either breaking that relationship or the business not working out. You know what I mean? So I think that that's also like something super important. I mean, from a business perspective too, bro, like you're like you can give so much light into like people like developing stuff. Like, you're so deep into the health, like, or the life insurance realm that I like see what you do. I see you like doing Zoom calls with like hundreds of people, and I'm like, I don't know how this guy does it. And then like, it's like with me too, where I'm like back to back to back, like going from place to place, like just dealing with different people, like throwing these crazy numbers as to like what we're doing and generating like revenue wise and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, dude, it's I think it's like playing catch up at times. It's like interesting when you like take a step back. And I think even us talking right here is us processing a little bit of having these things, because I haven't genuinely completely processed it. It's almost become a little bit numb to where now it's like I get in it and like I just drive, and like I don't really feel it as much. But then looking back at it, I'm like, this is pretty crazy. You know what I mean? Like it's
super crazy.
it's a little crazy. It's a little daunting.
Yeah.
But dude, I think that you have like I want to pick your brain on the business side a lot because you do have a lot of like really good tips, even on like the life insurance space. And I think we can both kind of do the same thing because I mean, it all ties, what I do all ties into everything because it's marketing.
Yeah.
But with your end, it's such a niche market, right?
Yeah.
Like the life insurance space, all that kind of stuff, right? You have your company, All-in-One Insurance. Run me through a little bit of the structure of what that looks like because you guys have a big team, you guys have a badass team, you have a good structure, right?
Yeah.
And you guys are really, really good at what you do. You know what I mean? What does that all look like? Like, what does that take in your day to day? And like, what can you like give people as like, hey, like if this is what it takes, because people are going to see this too. And again, for the most part, we're like, it's been more of like a personal, like we're very gracious and happy that we were able to get to this point and get these cars. But
Yeah.
a lot of times, again, like it goes back into people just seeing them and being like, oh, it's either daddy's money or it's a crypto coin or something like that. And it's that it. But they, again, don't see those 18-hour work days. So it's like, what does that look like for you? You know what I mean? Building this that you have now, like where did it even come from?
So if I get off course, just redirect me.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say for anybody that's watching this is like, if you want a car like this or the lifestyle or anything that we have going on, like I had to learn this early on, I need to be in business for myself. Like we got to create a service. We need customers. And like for me, I wanted to be in an industry where there was no cap. Whatever part of it you're talking about, whether it's income or scalability or creating impact for people, like I didn't want to reach a point where it's like, hey, you're cut off here. Yeah. And a lot of the stuff that I did early on and excelled at, it's like, hey, you're cut off here. You could be the best salesperson, the best marketer, whatever it is, like you're capped at a certain spot. So I was in digital marketing and had been looking for an industry, like for what you have was scalable. The way I was doing it was not. And I found the life insurance space, you know, and saving long story short, I ended up getting my life insurance license. And with my background from prior stuff, it was difficult getting into the industry, right? I was a troublemaker when I was younger, but got my license, got set up with a company, learned the sales process, did not kill it at the beginning, right? Like I full transparency, had gotten out of rehab a couple months before and was like reprogramming my brain essentially, just getting used to life on life's terms again. So it was a very slow start, but once I figured out the sales process and got linked up with people that were really serious about it, that were making a lot of money, that were setting the tone, people that I could actually like bank account check, be like, hey, you say you make a lot of money, let me see your bank account. And they're like some Wolf of Wall Street, if you can show me you made $87,000 last month, I'll quit my job. And that literally, I didn't have a job at the time because I was selling my business, my clientele at the time, but it was that situation, a little bit different, but the guy was making about $80,000 a month. And so,
well, I'll cut into here too. You can continue on that, but dude, I have to say, I hate it. Like when people say that they make an X amount of money. First off, I don't care how much money you make, but two, I hate it when people say it, and it's such a blatant lie because you can tell somebody that has money and you can tell somebody that doesn't. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's very simple to kind of like put into perspective what like $100,000 a month is, $200,000 a month is. You know what I mean? Even $50K a month, even $20K a month, even $10K a month. You know what I mean? We've gone through each step where like we know how we live and how we move, where we can recognize certain people that start to say that, like, bro, anyone that says they're making that amount of money for the most part is either full of shit unless they can do what they did to you, which is like, there you go.
Show me the money.
So I just always like to preface on that because I see it all the time, and especially online, it lives more than anywhere, right? Yeah. Like I can sit here and like show you these cars, and you don't even know if they're rented. You know what I mean? Like they don't fucking know if they're rented. They don't know if we just got these cars from Miami and just brought them here for a quick little day trip. You know what I mean? So there's so much bullshit happening online where like people just say certain things that are just so non-factual, and I think it's very easy, and I think for everybody, it's always good to like. You have to have a radar in you to just understand the bullshit that's out there. Yeah. Like you got to read through the lines, bro. You can't be super gullible. Like it's a trait that you have to like over time you get burned enough to where you can kind of tell it. But I hope that there's so many people out there that can just genuinely like see through the bullshit of about 80% of the people out there that are saying they're making X amount of money because they are not. So and that was the thing. So for the first time in my life, of all the
businesses or opportunities or stuff like that. It was like someone actually showed me their bank account, and then they showed me their checking account, and they showed me their savings, and I was like, okay. And then they broke down when they started, what it looked like, and that's what I do for people in my business. Like, I'm huge on transparency. Like, since I met you, I've been like, hey, I had a rough background. This is what my life looked like, and I try to do that with the business, because me being transparent about being broke as fuck 2.5 years ago, getting out of rehab, most people don't talk about that, and getting into a new space and being like a newborn baby crawling around like, what do I do? How do I sell this product? Like, what am I selling? Where, to kind of go back to where I was, like, I did not start and absolutely knock it out of the park. Once I started to figure it out and got around people that were really doing the deal and walking the walk and talking the talk, I really figured out, I'm like, okay, this is a business that is scalable, right? And the really cool thing about what we're doing is, you know, All-in-One Insurance is set up with multiple different insurance companies. So we have a super wide variety of products we can sell in all 50 states. In life insurance, it's not exciting, it's not sexy, but it's something that everybody needs, and it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. And when you look at the economy and when things have failed or banks have failed, guess who's bailing them out? Life insurance companies. So for me, it was like, I liked the sexy, fast, exciting stuff before. Getting into this industry, I was like, okay, I got to figure out a system that we can scale, because I don't want to do anything where it's just me involved. Like, I wanted to build a team. I wanted to create impact. To be transparent, I wanted to generate a lot of revenue to live the lifestyle I've always wanted to live. But more importantly, like, dude, I want to fucking give back to people that are like me, were like me, whatever it is. So long story short, once I figured out how to sell insurance, got around the right people that really trained me and showed me, you know, the ins and outs of the industry, where I felt confident enough to have conversations with people that were in other sales industries that was like, are you ready to quit your job? You like, do you have enough confidence? Here's what I'm making. This is what I'm doing. This is the process. This is the script. This is where we get our leads, right? Where through that and getting more and more people comfortable enough to quit their jobs and go hard and run, like, it's developed into a thing where, you know, it was 10 people, then it was 20, then it was 30, then it was 40, then it was 50, then it was 60, right? And like, my goal ending 2024 is, I would like to have, because it's not all about numbers and quantity and stuff, I would like to end with 150 quality salespeople that are with us for the mission, not just, hey, I want to work here for 3 months
and then go on to the next.
Yeah, I want to continue to build like a unit of people that can move together, because I think that's the biggest thing. And dude, I wanted to create a family, like the Misfits toys, like whatever shape, size, like All-in-One Insurance.
Dude, every time I go into the office and just see a bunch of hustlers, bro, it's like wolves just like doing their thing, crushing it, providing such a great value and service, bro. And it just goes back to like, you can't get diamonds without pressure. Even them having to like go through the process of leaving something that might have been very steady. You know what I mean? That's something that's like tricky, bro, that not a lot of people can do, especially a lot of people that might have not come from like backgrounds like we have gone through, that have worked to keep that steadiness and are okay with kind of staying there. So them having the confidence in you, that also says a lot about you and what you also showed them and provided for them. You know what I mean? To be able to have like that, just to be able to make that jump like that. Because I had a similar experience when I worked at Facebook. I didn't have anybody like help me and kind of like show me like, hey, this is what you can do. I wish, right? But I had YouTube and literally Instagram and like learning as much as I could through like Google and all that stuff. But for the most part, I worked at Facebook for 4 years, and that was a tough job to leave, but I always knew that there was a cap to it because it was great salary, it was great benefits, all that stuff was great. But I felt at one point where I just learned as much as I could. And in those spaces, bro, unless you're a developer or a software engineer, those are the people that are making really a lot of money in that space, but it's still capped. But they're the ones that are making like, you know what I mean, $500,000 plus to like $1 million plus per year salaries from these companies. And I knew that there was a level where like I had taken as much information as possible because I was all ears, and I've always been like this with everything, which is so important for like everybody out there. It's like, you can't discount anybody. You have to take everything you hear serious, especially if it's in something that you're interested in. You know what I mean? You have to be as receptive to information as possible. And that's what I did. When I was there, I was building, bro. I was like listening to every small inch of everything so that when I was in the middle of doing that, it got to a point where I was also running my agency at the same time, and it just got to a point where I was like, I can't do this, and I had to take that leap, but it still was an insecure leap because I wasn't at a point where I was at now at all.
Yeah.
I was at a point where that, like, I have my background. I worked at Facebook. I dropped out of high school, by the way. So even getting that job in itself was an absolute
Insane.
like
Yeah.
pain to get, and go through like the hurdles of like not obviously like having those background requirements that for the most part a lot of people like think you need to have.
Yeah.
But I had my agency prior, and I had a lot of companies that I built prior that were that resume, which goes back into like even people that go to school, like keep like there's no reason to get yourself in debt. If you really know what you want to do, for sure go to school for it. But for the most part, anybody that's going to school for business, administration, marketing, or whatever it is, you're going to leave with that degree, and you're not going to be able to get a job anywhere because they're only looking for experience. They're not even looking for you to have that degree anymore, which is, that's a whole nother thing to talk about. But yeah, dude, it's in part, it's that thing where like diamonds get, like you can't get diamonds without pressure, leaving, feeling that like anxiety of like, you're really at a point where like you have to fend for yourself, and as far as building, and like you can't look to your boss, you can't look to this person or that person. And that molds a different energy as well, dude. Like I think that it's, everybody in their lifetime should start something, you know what I mean? Regardless of what it is, everybody should take a leap into something that they shouldn't, or think they maybe shouldn't at that point in time, because again, it just builds something that you can't teach. You really can't teach it. You can go to school and hear as many books, movies, things about all this stuff. You cannot teach it that. You have to go through it. You have to like learn those experiences and all that stuff to get to a point. And you also have to be calculated and smart about it too. Like you saying like life insurance was one of the spaces that you wanted to work with because you knew that there's no cap to it.
Yeah.
It's endless.
Yeah.
Like everyone's always going to need life insurance. You know what I mean? That was my analogy to diving deep into my space, being a marketer, right? And my space isn't like my space, not like the old MySpace, like Facebook. Yeah. You know what I mean? God, I feel like I'm old, but I'm not. I'm 24. But basically I had that same ideology where it was like, okay, what is never like, there's always going to be new businesses. There's never going to be a time, like that's just the way capitalism works. That's the way everything works. There will never not be more businesses. What is another thing too? There will never not be businesses trying to find ways that they can make more money or get more business. Yeah. Right. So I squeeze myself in a way where over time you start to embed your name, your own like results and all that stuff across everybody that you work with, that it helps a lot. And it puts you again in a space that's a little bit above most people. If you have those results, like we've had over, you know what I mean? We've generated hundreds of millions of dollars through like ads that we have ran. We're spending over 10 million plus every single month across just our Facebook ads that we do alone across everybody. And it keeps growing. It's almost like to the point where you have to like kind of slow down. And what's cool about it is I even have friends and this is what I'll kind of end off on too, just as kind of advice for people. And you've probably met this too, where life insurance agents, I feel like you guys also are the same way as like us as like social media agency owners or people that are in the marketing space are. There's some people that aren't, but for the most part, everyone is this way. We're all trying to help each other because what we realized is you're not going to help anybody by being either jealous, by either preying on someone's downfall or not wanting to see them succeed. I am so happy to see everyone around me succeed. If they have the same company that I do and they're doing 10 times better than I am and they're my close friend, I am so happy for you. And in fact, I'm actually receptive. I'm like, dude, I don't want to bother, but what are you doing differently? You know what I mean? Are you doing something that's like let me know, but I'm so happy for you. At the end of the day, I'm not going to feel anything but happiness. A lot of people have certain greed and ways of looking at things where they're like, bro, I hate that this person's doing so good. I hate it. I hate it. And in our space, the cool thing is there's no competition. There's always going to be more people. You can see how many people were born, who knows how long for your space. And then on my end, like we can look at like new LLCs registered every day. Like there's going to be always new businesses. There's always going to be more people. Like there's no, and this is like, I think as an advice as a whole with like life in general too, how like you sometimes might fight for like a girl or like something else, whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? It's like, there's no point. You know what I mean? There's ways to help each other grow, especially in like when you have solid mindsets and all that stuff. So that's one thing that's super, super important.
And it's, you know, it's crazy working in a business where some people look at it as super competitive, right? Where a lot of my friends and the people that I get advice from also own super large businesses or really large life insurance agencies where it's like, not a lot of people are gatekeeping, especially when people know that they can trust you. It's like, there's the sauce and we're all sharing the sauce, right? I share any sauce that I can with you. You do the same thing for me. You do the same thing for my team. And it's like, it's crazy. I'll say this. I was boxing the other day and ran into somebody and was talking about what I do for work because they saw the car and whatever. And then come to find out, I'm not going to say who it is, but you run their ads. And it's just such a small world. Like when you get into that realm of people that are working together, helping each other, like one common goal. You and I might have somewhat a little bit different goals, but it's essentially the same shit. You know what I mean? It's the core values where that's what I love getting, because I feel like when I was down here, everyone's like fist fighting for like, how do I get up here, right? And then you work hard enough to get metaphorically above some of that, and then you get around new people where I've had to change the majority of my friend group because I've changed my life. Yep. So it doesn't really align, where now I'm around people like you where it's like everybody wants to see each other win and also help with it. Like you literally help. You are changing my life right now through what you do marketing wise, where anybody that is watching this, I'd highly recommend hiring this dude for the marketing.
If you need life insurance, I still need to get everything sorted with my life because, dude, I'm going to be honest, I don't even have health insurance, dude, bro.
We're going to get it done.
Something happens to me, as soon as I became a business owner, I'm like, what? I don't get benefits with Facebook? I'm not paying however much a month. Dude. So I'm actually I might need to
I can get you life and I can get you health.
I need a call.
You
I know. Yeah, I need that.
But, one thing that I guess I want to say for anybody that's watching this is like, starting a business is one of the scariest things in life, in my opinion, to a degree, because you're like, what if I do this wrong? What if I do this wrong? Critiquing over and over again. How do I start an LLC? What does that look like? Like no one in my family, they're all amazing, amazing people, but I couldn't call anybody and be like, hey, how do I start an LLC and this and taxes and that? But like, when you talk about going to school and doing all these things, I dropped out of school because I was in a business class, and I asked the professor, hey, have you ever ran a business, while he's teaching us about business? And he's like, no. And I was just like, I'm clocked out.
Yeah.
And, it's YouTube University. It's getting around people like who's even here right now. And honestly, for me, dude, a lot of it was like sprinting into a wall and figuring out whether it was solid rock or made out of a different material, or doing that enough where I'm like, hey, I need to go around this way, or calling someone and asking for help, where it's like, I think anybody that's watching this, if you see the car or the lifestyle or whatever, it's like, it's an accumulation of effort, advice, calling people and asking for help, and like failing over and over and over again. And I know that's happened in your business.
Yeah, of course.
And to see you at 24 after working at Facebook, and like what I know that you do for people in your personal life, and watching you professionally as well, like, dude, it's just a testament to falling flat on your face and getting back up with a super good attitude, whether people are talking shit, have a different perspective, whatever's going on. It's really cool to see, because you're one of the few people. You're 4 years younger than me, probably like 3.5, right?
Yeah, I'm 25 this one.
And you're one of the guys that makes me feel young, because everything that you have going on, which is what I want to be around.
Oh, bro, well, it's funny that you bring that up, because it was so weird how like tapped in like energy wise, but like Caleb, I was thinking of Caleb.
Yeah,
that's one of my business partners and really, really close friends of mine. He teaches me things every day. This kid's 19, bro. He just turned 20.
Yeah,
this guy is like in a different world, and he's a perfect example. This kid's spending over $100 million a month on ads across everything that he's running. He's running with some of the biggest companies you can't even imagine and mention. And what's so crazy though is what you were mentioning. Like, we're talking about like our industries, right? The marketing space, the life insurance space. We're in a world right now where there are more ways to make money right now than there have ever been in the universe. You know what I mean? There are no more ways to make money ever than there are right now. And the amount of knowledge and information that is out there at your fingertips is times 10. That's the thing. Like, back in the day, of course, people had to go to college because that was the only way you could really learn. But then the internet came. Everything I have learned, everything that I've taught myself from ads, from everything. Because again, I dropped out of high school. Everything that I've learned from selling, from running like ads, from business, from everything has all been self-taught through the internet, through YouTube videos, right? I was watching Ayman Gatti before he was Ayman Gatti, which now he's like one of the biggest like YouTubers that does that type of stuff. But I was on him when he was first developing his stuff. Like all these like old people that they were younger obviously, but like they were explaining how to do these things, and they were also learning as they're explaining it to you, so you're all like kind of growing and learning together. And like there's an aspect of that that's so refreshing. And Caleb being so young too is a great example of like what a lot of people that are not only like younger than us or at his age, but even older people need to realize, bro, because a lot of people sometimes like block themselves and they're like, you know what, I'm good. I don't want to do any of that. I'm too old for it. I'm too young for it. I'm like, dude, right now is literally the time to like I kid you not, like you can go like I'm gonna make like some sort of like a mastermind or some sort of a class where like I just show people how to like start a business from the ground up and get it to like $100,000 a month in revenue, because it's not as hard as it sounds. I kid you not. It's like you can literally go through ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT, hey, what's a good business to start right now? I'll give you 10 different options. Hey, how do you start this business? You start asking, like you can literally build a whole infrastructure through just asking. And I think it's so funny because that's like literally how life is. Like, you just have, sometimes you have to just ask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you see that person driving that car, when you see that person that owns that business, I am so curious always, bro. Anybody that's more successful than I am or that's more driven or whatever it is, I want to like, I'm just like, again, I want to ask.
Yeah.
How do you do this? What do you do? Like, what was your lowest point in life? How did you overcome that? Like, things like that, people like that are more than willing to talk about it. And those people that aren't are just assholes that, for the most part, got to hand it to them.
Yeah.
Because anybody that works for their shit, they're happy to talk about it, bro.
They want to pass
They
it
want to
on.
pass it on. They want to pass it on. It's some, like, why not? You know what I mean?
What's crazy? Not to stop you, but the person that you're talking about pulling up in the car and whatever, asking what they do, like you are officially that person now, which is kind of wild.
So
and I've
weird,
experienced
bro.
that over the last little bit, and it just clicked in me. I was like, this is weird, because where my life was at like 2 years ago was absolutely nothing to even put on record or talk about or whatever, where it's like to have someone be like, yo, what do you do? I'm like
just a guy.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just a car or whatever. But I think to go back to what you were talking about, in relation to like Caleb, or being that young and the persona that he has, or what comes with these cars and things like that, it's like to be able to be the people where someone's like, hey, you're not cocky, hey, you're not arrogant, and like you do a whole bunch of things for other people and change their lives. Like that's the best part of it, because there's so many people that I feel like getting these cars that want you to be a big piece of shit just so they can put it in it. The guy that pulled up right when you got your car delivered, that was talking about calling the cops and whatever, like that perfect example
of it, bro.
Yeah.
It's the perfect example of it. And again, it all comes down to who you are as a person. Like even like Matt's over here, and dude, you're fucking such an amazing human being. Like I know I tell you this all the time, but like this motherfucker is like these guys have a crazy company. Like we're in their warehouse. Like this is fucking sick. It's like super cool, and he's like so nice enough to like literally just like let us do this and like just like, but this guy right here is like a fucking beast in his own. You know what I mean? It's like, like, but that's how you have to surround yourself with your net. I will always say this, bro. Your net worth and your energy is literally your net, like your net worth. Like that is like the people you surround yourself with, who you put yourself around, is going to be the most valuable thing that you will repay yourself in life. And it's weird because I've been through experiences where I was at one point hanging around with a certain group of people that, while they're not awful people, like, bro, there's just, I was matching their energy. I match people's energy. And you have, like, a lot of people need to tap into that. Is like, you have to be careful who you're around, because you don't realize that psychologically or energy wise, it's dragging you to a point where sometimes you don't have to completely remove them as far as like, I can't fuck with you anymore. But you have to take a little bit of a step back and be like, hey, this relationship is affecting where I need to be and where God wants to take me. I need to take a little bit of a step back. Right. And to even kind of end off on that note too, like even regarding what's it called, one thing that I always like look at, bro, that a lot of people tend to strive for, and having this car, which is actually like the conversation that I do want to end on, is the what now moment that people that have these cars, or people that get that crazy house, or people that get this and that. I am by no means where I know I'm meant to be. I'm getting there. And part of it is scary, going through a lot, because you hear about millionaires offing themselves all the time. You hear about millionaires being very sad. You hear about people that are you know what I mean, have everything that you would think would make them happy, that are
Yeah.
the most sad people in the world. And I sit there and I like, it's a great, so for me it's a little bit different because I disconnect myself from everything, and because I just live through God and my family. That's literally like where I'm at. So I look at it a little bit differently, but I could see, like, the moment I had this car, it was great, dopamine hit. Every like first week was amazing. And then after that, then you start like loosening it off a bit, and you're like, well, I have the car I've always wanted. I can go on whatever trip I've ever wanted. I can buy whatever I really want. You know what I mean? I'm taking care of the people around me. What fulfills me? What is my inner peace, purpose? What makes me genuinely happy, right? And that just clicks, and it's super important for people to understand that, like, you can buy 10 million Lambos, you can buy 10 million McLarens, you can buy 10 million houses, you can do all these things. If you, to your core, you don't have anything that is driving you. For me, it's my family.
Yeah.
For me, it's my mom. For me, it's my dad. For me, it's my brother. For me, it's being an example. For me, it's God.
Yeah.
I will never be steered off because that is my core.
Yeah.
To the core, I can get rid of all of this stuff. If I'm at a ranch or at a place living with my family,
Yeah.
everyone is healthy,
Yeah.
I'm just as happy, right? Because that's how God intended it to be. So it was a fun moment, because I had that little thought though. I was like, for a second, the devil tried to creep in and was like, what now?
Yeah.
What are you worth?
Yeah.
You need another car. You need
Yeah.
something better.
Yeah.
That person's doing better than you are. Blah, 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 blah. And you take a second, you're like, that's how people end off depressed. That's how people
Yeah.
end up self-imploding. That's how people don't get to that goal that they want to with their business. When you start comparing, comparison is the thief of joy. It's like the most common like quote out there, but it's so true. You know what I mean? So did you have that point, or ever thought of that, like at being at this point, like analyzing everything?
It's weird because my life has changed so much, right? There's the internal side, but we're talking about these in the background, like the props, the things, the cash, the prizes, whatever, where I wake up in the morning, my life feels like a dream, right? Like the place that I live, like with the record I have and all of that stuff, which, you know, we can go into that stuff at a different time, but it's wild. The first week felt absolutely insane. And then just like what you're talking about, I can feel the other side of my brain be like, what's next, right? Yeah. Which part of that can be good because it's driving for what's going on. But one thing that, you know, I always like to repeat is like, if you got a supercar or anything in the realm and you're out here wearing like the shoes I'm wearing or other stuff that people have, but you're not taking care of your family and setting the tone for the people around you, like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if I got a Lambo and my mom is fucked off and not in a good position, like that is absolutely horrible. Where there's one thing that I've learned, because I've made a lot of money before and I made it so fast that it all went out the door and I ended up with negative money and in rehab, right? Because I was take, and it was the first time I had experienced it, so I didn't know how to deal with it. Yeah. Where now through that, what I've learned is like, okay, I'm getting myself something, I got to give stuff away to other people, right? Where it's like in my life, while having this car and the other stuff, like I have to keep the things that keep me grounded at the forefront. Like right before we started this, I have a guy that I mentor that's in rehab, one of multiple that called me right before. And it's like, that's one of the big parts of my life that keeps me grounded, because it's gotten shiny and bright and, you know, somewhat attractive in comparison to what it used to be, but the fundamentals are like giving back, doing acts of service, right? Like getting my mom in the position that she deserves to be in after I put her through hell for many years. So I think with going through that, and everyone's going to have their own journey, but I think balancing where you're like, hey, I want to have the life beyond my wildest dreams, but like you got to lift other people up, because my opinion is if you don't give it away, you cannot fucking keep it. And I've experienced that time and time again. I've tried to cheat the system and it's like, it doesn't work. So, you know, I think while we're scaling up, the biggest thing is delivering impact to other people, because then you get to keep the life and it's with a whole bunch of other people.
And no one sees that, which is the craziest thing. But at the same time, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's part of, I think that's one of the things that we have in common, is we have a very similar thing that drives our core. Yeah. And I hope that people that watch this, or just in general, like are trying to start that next business or trying to do that next good deed, that they understand that if you're living for yourself, none of this means anything, and you'll end up in complete unhappiness and complete depression and complete regret. You'll end up chasing addictions. You'll end up chasing things that you will never find. You will never find that thing that's going to fill you. It's the same thing with drugs, and drugs can be the same, perceived the same way as things, and it can be perceived in so many different ways that you don't realize it. Like, for example, even with like trying to chase the next thing, there's always going to be somebody that's way richer than you.
Yeah.
There's always going to be somebody that has more things than you, that has a bigger house than you, that has a bigger this. And if you just chase that, you're going to be in an endless chase of sadness.
Yeah.
And I hope people can realize that it doesn't mean you have to like stoop down and be like, oh, well, like this person, like, no, you can definitely be alpha. You can take control. You can be the best fucking version of yourself. And you know you're destined for more. Go get it.
Yeah.
But if you're out chasing what other people have, you will hit a wall so hard, and you will put yourself in a place that no amount of money or no amount of things that you have will ever be able to crawl you out of that space.
Yeah.
Right? I'd rather be at the mountain next to Mount Everest with the closest people close to me, best friends, best life that I could possibly live, than being at the top absolutely by myself.
Yeah.
Have fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we can probably end on that, but I think that was a good combo, dude.
Yeah.
That was a good combo. We can do more. We'll do more, but yeah.
That was fire.
That was sick. Yeah, we can call it.
Let's
call it a wrap.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. That was fire, dude.